Yo, welcome in everybody to the next episode of Sideline Chatter. This is episode I don't know, seven.
Yeah.
All right. We're here with me, co-host Justin, also with James Albert. How we feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. Records wasn't too hot for the first week. 10 leagues went 5-5, which I guess it's better than having a losing record. But
Yeah.
I was saying before highlight. I'm in $4 $100 leagues, 4 separate $100 leagues. Went 3-1 in those, so I guess prioritize those. I guess I'll take that.
A rich beast over here.
I don't know. No. Yeah, making all this money from this podcast, you know. How you doing, bro? How's your fantasy weekend?
Doing all right. Had 8 leagues. Went 6-2. Lost one game by like 1 point, like 1.5 points. So also won another game by 3 points. Shout out Darren Waller. Sorry, Reggie. I don't know if you're probably not watching this, but
Reggie ain't watching this.
Hold that L, brother. But yeah, 6-2, I'll take it. But topic of this episode is going to be winners and losers of week 1 of the NFL season. So pretty much the winners are guys who obviously produced, who have a high trajectory going forward. My losers are going to consist of players that either A, disappointed, or B, like I'm slightly worried about. So let's start it off. My first winner of the week, and a guy who impressed me a lot, who pretty much impresses every week, is Tyree Kill. Obviously went 10 catches, 197 yards, and touchdown. So I saw a stat earlier. It's kind of crazy to me. In his last 11 games, dating back to last year, he's averaged 12 targets a game, which is 4 more than his career average of 8 a game.
It's really insane.
So if he keeps up this 12 target a game pace, I think he's the obvious wide receiver 1, and I think he can like even break some like records this year in terms of fantasy points and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really crazy actually.
So he was like a late first round, early second round pick. I took him at 8th in our league. He's looking like a steal right now. I know Adams went before him, and they had a rough week 1, and he'll bounce back, no question. But Tyree Kill into the first round is looking like a steal right now in that offense. We obviously know what Mahomes is going to do, and they're just a perfect match with each other. And Kelce also takes the pressure off him. So that's my first winner of the week. It's like a no-brainer, but
I have to go on a mini Cleveland Browns defense rant here. I faced Travis Kelce in a number of leagues. I also have him in an A league, so I guess I can't fully complain. But me and Justin say to each other, probably, I'm not kidding, probably 15 times a week that we wish that we were on coaching staffs in the NFL. And I usually 99% of the time say for offensive purposes, but this time I'm saying for defensive purpose. The amount of times that they had 3rd and less than 10, and Travis Kelce would stand up, walk 5 feet in front of the line, turn around, and no one would be on the screen with him is insane. And even on his touchdown, it's the same thing. It's 3rd and 6 from like the 10-yard line, and he just caught it at the sticks, turned, and he's a monster, so he just walked into the end zone.
it was insane.
And the Hill touchdown was insane because I can't stand when those I call them moon balls. It's my new word of the season. These fadeaway moon balls that quarterbacks are throwing, and the defender overruns it by 20 feet, and it ends up being a touchdown. But I had to get that off my chest. But my first winner, probably I think it was your fantasy MVP from last season. Quarterback Kyler Murray, winner, 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 4 passing, 1 rushing, and in a game where usually I feel like in the situation last year, if they got up on people, they kind of let off the gas, started running the ball more, but they just kind of poured it on Tennessee for whatever reason. He looks incredible.
Facts.
Like they always there's always these plays like the Johnny Manziel plays in college where the quarterback just runs around, does all this crazy shit, and completes a 40-yard pass. But like he did it as a rookie, and everyone was like, then he did it again. Now he's doing this was absurd. The one play where he runs around for like 40 seconds and then just throws it up, and the guy's wide open. Like as a defense, there's nothing you can do about that. Just absolutely nothing. But I think we're talking about trajectory. I think he absolutely has the trajectory to be QB1.
Yeah, he does.
He's just gonna let loose every single game.
He was some people's QB1 coming into the season. The people that wanted to be different and not put Mahomes there, which I respect. I mean, I'm not really surprised considering last year how he was the first half of the year. He was the QB1. Sadly, I don't own him in any of the 8 leagues I'm in, which is kind of stupid. I should have took him in at least a few.
Yeah, got him 2 out of 10. And it's better than none.
Yeah, he spread the wealth too. Hopkins 8, Kirk 8. Rondale Moore had a solid game. A.J. Green's old ass did not get in on the fun, but Edmonds had a solid game, like over 100 yards. So, yeah, I agree. Kyler Murray looks like a cheat code. My next winner I got here is going to be Mike Williams of the Chargers. 12 targets he saw against the Washington football team. 8 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. This is a guy who was going like wide receiver, like 35, 40 range.
Yeah.
So really late in drafts. Not really late, but late in drafts. You drafted him as like a wide receiver 4 or even a 5. And I think he's on pace to easily outdo his ADP. Given this offense, they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, obviously. I think a lot of people have Justin Herbert as like a dark horse MVP candidate, which I like as well. There's going to be airing the ball out a lot. He also has a 1,000-yard season on his resume and also another season with 10-plus TDs. So I feel like that tells you enough right there that he has all the tools, to be a really good fantasy receiver. And obviously he was a first-round pick back, 3 years ago or whatever. Yeah. And, highly touted coming out of Clemson.
Actually, I did not know that. It shocked me when they said that during the game.
That what?
That because that 2017 class, right? He was 7th overall pick, I think.
Yeah, or something like that.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
But, yeah, he's kind of, insane. I feel like everybody just let him go because of his injury history, which, and is, very valid. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have, but.
Yeah, he's a winner until he gets hurt.
I'm saying that point of the draft where he's going, you're drafting for ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And his ceiling is as high as any of the mid-20s, mid-20s receivers. And if he can stay on the field, and they, like you said, they're trying to make it a point of emphasis to get him the ball, which usually
followed up on that.
Coach speak is usually a whole bunch of bull jive, but I guess that's true in this case. So I'll keep going with my second winner. It's a rookie running back for the 49ers, and no, it is not Trey Sermon. That is Elijah Mitchell, who, when me and Justin texting in a group chat when Sermon was announced out, he said, "Who else is there besides Raheem Mostert?" And it's a 6th-round rookie Elijah Mitchell who got thrust into just unpredictable storm that is the 49ers offense. Doesn't matter. You could put me or Justin out there and we'll run for 100 yards behind that offense. I probably won't, but 19 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, obviously, Mostert is, we just found out today, gone for the season.
Yeah.
I think he takes over.
He should.
I think you can almost rank him where you had Mostert.
Right. In theory, yeah.
And Sermon's probably going to stay the same or a little higher.
Yeah.
And who knows? He might even be a healthy scratch again next week. I doubt it.
I think he'll probably be active, but I like Elijah Mitchell a lot. He has his combine metrics been talked about a lot. He runs a 4.4 and all that bull jive. But the only weird thing is Shanahan always switches stuff up. You don't.
I say Hasty had 1 carry.
Yeah.
In this game where Mostert was gone for the whole season, and I think he had 1 carry.
Yeah, he only had 1
carry, 3 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's absolutely not going to be the case next week.
Yeah, something weird might happen, but he's definitely, I think, the number 1 waiver ad this week, without a doubt. Especially because he's a running back, and that's
especially if you lost Mostert, and you lost your game and you're in last place, go pick him up.
So,
or however your waivers work.
I would say pick him up. I don't know who do they play this week. Do you know?
San Francisco plays the Eagles.
Okay, so it's a solid matchup, I would say.
Yeah. It's not a home run matchup, but it should be decent.
So I'd pick him up and start him. Obviously, expect for some weird shit that might happen. He might start, fumble, and just be in the doghouse. You don't know.
If you're really thin at running back, I think you don't have a choice but to start him.
Yeah.
But if you have options, I probably would use whoever you have over him just because of the unpredictableness. But absolutely a winner from last Sunday.
My third winner is going to be Darren Waller. The Raiders. The Beast. 1 minute a week. Obviously, we all knew he was great and probably the second best tight end in fantasy. Which jumps off the page is obviously the 19 targets. And if you watch the game, he had 7 targets in the first 2 drives or 3 drives. He was getting thrown the ball so much, and he probably should have had more than what he had, in my opinion, at least.
I saw this thing. If you took his first quarter stats and projected them for the rest of the season,
right?
For the whole season, just based off the first quarter, he was projected for 406 targets, which would be a record. By
far,
100 and something catches, I think, and 500 yards. Not even a lot of it was barely any yards and 1 touchdown. Like it's just absolutely insane.
It was insane. So he was going like early third, mid third, maybe latest, I think late third in a lot of drafts. In our 10-man league, I got him in the beginning of the 4th round, which I love there. I'm not a big tight end early guy, but like I gotta say, like just plugging him in your tight end and seeing like 22 points there is a really good feeling. So if you got him, I think you're more than happy, obviously, with week 1. And he's going to be force-fed targets the whole season, in my opinion. So he has the Steelers next, which is not a great matchup, but honestly, I think he's matchup-proof at this point, just giving off the volume. I don't think it'll be obviously 19 targets again, but it should be like 10 plus, honestly.
Yeah, so he was pretty incredible. If you had him, I'm gonna say it's 80% chance he won your matchup if you had him. But definitely I'm a big like fan of the early tight end, but this year for whatever reason I didn't take him in our main league, and Justin thought it was 100% guarantee that I was taking him. Right. But I
if you took him and one of the receivers you took would have been Robinson or Lamb.
I didn't have Dak yet, so I probably would have took Robinson.
So yeah. I would have got Lamb probably.
Yeah.
Unless Eric took him, but yeah. I would have taken that.
Yeah.
Equally juice.
Well, I'll regret that probably the whole season, but hopefully Noah Fant can
Beast.
Look pretty good.
Yeah, he looks
not unrelated, but good mid one tight end. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Bottom. Right. But keep it going with another target hog from one to another. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. In my opinion, the most disrespected player in the draft probably this year. We have a 2 quarterback, 3 receiver, 2 running back, 1 tight end, 3 flex league. I started to draft 4 running backs in a row. Then I took Allen Robinson. And then I believe I took someone else. And then I took Amari Cooper in a 7th round in a league that has that many positions is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so
16 targets, 13 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, this game was the shootout of all shootouts.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's a Cowboys game.
That's a Cowboys game, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to be ridiculous, and Lamb is going to be very great too. Like, I'm not saying this to downgrade CeeDee Lamb at all, but you just can't ignore the 1A, 1B receiver on a team that's going to throw the ball 45 times a game, minimum.
So, yeah, you took Swift in the 5th round, which is ridiculous.
That's what it was.
Jacobs went before him. Jameis Winston went before him. Come on.
I took Robinson 3rd round, then took Swift. That's what it was.
Robinson 4th, Swift 5.
And then I took Cooper.
And Cooper, you went 6th round.
That's crazy to me. I mean, it's probably where he was going in a lot of drafts, but
I think earlier than 6. I would think he was like a round 4 or 5 pick.
I don't know, man. They let him fall to me, and I just put up the league high in that league high this week. I don't know. It's scary hours. Jared Goff's QB1. That's crazy.
Jeff Goff.
But, yeah, Amari Cooper, if you did manage to steal him from your league mates, congratulations. You're getting probably I'm going to say top wide receiver 2, maybe even bottom wide receiver 1, maybe. Sure. And you probably stole him as your second, third receiver.
Given he stays healthy, too.
Given he stays healthy. I saw this thing. His average points per game with Dak Prescott, 25.4.
That's insane.
Average fantasy points per game with Dak Prescott.
It's friggin' every Cowboy feels like.
That's insane.
Yeah, so it's going to be – I'm going to move on to the losers now.
Oh, I thought you said 4.
All right, Dude
told me to add a 4th. To add a 4th thing, just doesn't do it.
I'll throw in Deebo Samuel. What? So you're 4th?
Nah, just move on, bro.
What?
Go to losers.
Go to losers.
I just want everybody. I just want this on the record. Right before we started taping, Justin said, "You have Deebo on your list, right?" And I said, "I don't, but I did have him on there. Why?" And he said, "Because I wanted to add a 4th player." And I said, "Okay, do that." So I thought he added his own 4th player, and then he says Deebo.
Well, I was going to tie him into the kind of the losers.
Okay, we'll do that then. That's fine. Just move on to
the whole thing is a Niners list.
Yeah, this is a Niners episode.
So my first batch of losers here is Trey Sermon / Brandon Ayuk. You touched on Sermon a little bit earlier. This is a guy a lot of people are hyping up, including myself, to take over the backfield when Mostert got hurt, which is inevitable. Mostert got hurt, and Sermon didn't even play, which is disappointing. Shanahan said he wasn't even the 3rd best back in camp or whatever, but yet he was getting the first team snaps in preseason, which doesn't really make sense to me. Just going to take like a wait and see approach with this. Just stash him on your bench. The same goes with Brandon Ayuk, who saw 0 targets. I started him in 2 damn leagues. Got 0 in both leagues. Greg Sherfield. That's his name, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly did not know his first name was Greg. You just said it right now. But yeah, his last name is Sherfield. I knew that.
Was playing over him. Mohamed Sanu was even getting run over him, which is just ridiculous. I know he's had a hamstring issue out of camp and whatnot, but like
they also said, which to me is kind of the more concerning thing, that one of like the coaches said that he hasn't adjusted to being a professional.
Yeah, he was late on a curfew.
But like, I get you trying to establish your culture and all that stuff, but like see what he did last year, like you can't keep a player like that off the field,
right?
I mean, so I guess you can when you're playing Detroit. Maybe that has something to do with it. Right. Maybe they thought they were going to win this game.
And they're confident in other
easily.
Guys, I guess.
But yeah, that's
he was
really
returning
tough.
punts still, so I'm like, you can't really say the injury thing because I mean he played some. If it was an injury thing, I think he would have been held out.
He was returning punts.
Yeah,
I did not.
So it said on his notes at least. Yeah.
Wow, this is very confusing. It's Shanahan's.
So like, this is another
football hater. Shanahan.
You obviously can't start him because I mean you don't want to get another 0. So it might take an injury to somebody else like Debo or a Sherfield or whatever for him to be good again, or he might just start playing again. We don't really know. So just throw him on your bench. Wait to see. I think Sermon as well. It's kind of confusing, but I mean these are 2 guys I were high on coming into the draft, and a lot of people were honestly as a consensus. So I don't know. They're losers without a doubt. Fucking 0 points. Get the fuck out of here.
There it is. My first loser. My list of losers is very star-studded. Mine is more who just was supposed to have a really good week and didn't. Mine's not really foreshadowing the future as much as yours is. First up, Naji Harris, Justin's favorite player before the season. Said he would take him first overall. I think he said that on some TikToks.
Whoa.
But yes, he did have 100% opportunity share for running backs. Yes, he got 3 targets in 100%
snap share.
Well, yes. That's also no, I'm not. This is not a forecast for the rest of the season. He was supposed to be a really good top 10 running back to start the season. 16 carries for 45 yards is not it.
Facts.
And it's not him. It's that offensive line, which is like exactly why I was a little lower on him than Justin was going into the season, because the talent is there. Like that's not really up for debate at all. But I feel like he's really going to struggle to crack 100 yards on the ground. At all.
Yeah.
Like, he probably will score. He'll have multiple touchdown games. Like, he'll have 2 touchdowns in a game probably 4 or 5 times just because they're going to get to the goal line and hand it to him off. Like, that'll happen. But and I know touchdowns are way more important than yards, but all points matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, 16 for 45 is just scary in a game that they had control of most of the game. I know they like to heave it, but I don't know. I am a little worried about Naji. Not to the point where he's going to fall, like, in 25th running back or anything, but
well,
it just was something that was alarming to me.
Well, you hope to see with like a RB1 like this that he's on the field the entire game is more than 1 catch for 3 yards.
Yes.
So he had 3 targets, which is not even that great.
It's really not that great for 100% snap share.
Right, but like usually if a elite running back struggles on the ground, they'll make up through the air most of the times. But it's kind of a tough matchup, whatever, with the Buffalo Bills. They get the Raiders next week, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they do. Take my word on it.
Travis Kelce stuff. I don't really know the.
So I think he's got a nicer matchup next week. We saw the Raiders struggle to stop the run last night. So I think he'll bounce back next week, and he better. Because I was hyping him up too. On to my next loser, and a player I'm not really panicking on just yet, but I'm kind of worried on is James Robinson. So the Jaguars, we all thought got the best matchup of the week with the shitty Texans. Trevor Lawrence threw the ball 51 times, which yes and no. You can credit this to the game script, but like I was following this game kind of closely, and like the first quarter was over, and I think it was like tied or even like they were down like 7-0, and they didn't even run the ball yet. I'm like, are you serious? Like, so how's Urban Meyer going to come out and say we don't want to throw 51 times, but yet you're not even running the ball in the first quarter and whatnot? Carlos Hyde had 9 carries, which is not what you want to see. James Robinson only had 5 carries. He saw 6 targets, which is nice, but we're expecting more out of that. You know what I mean? Last year he saw like all the touches for the Jaguars. Obviously, Hyde wasn't there last year, so it has something to do with it. But we expected a really bigger week from him. 5 carries, that's just not it. So it's a new offense, new quarterback, new coaching staff, whatnot. So I'm willing to give it some more time. But 5 carries is really just not it, especially against a shitty team like the Texans, or a shitty run defense, I should say. I have him in just one league, I think.
So I don't have him in any. And
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my drafts were before the ETN.
Right.
So, like, I was avoiding him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have 3 or 4 drafts after the injury, and there's so much. Urban Meyer doesn't really. I don't want to say he doesn't know what he's doing, because he does. But like he's never been in this environment before, so like he could just straight up run a college offense,
Mm-hmm.
and we would have no idea. And which it means that they're going to run the ball max 15 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, you have Trevor Lawrence #1 pick. Maybe that happens.
If he's struggling, then yeah.
And if they're going to be down 30 points to Tyrod Taylor, then I mean, the rest of the season really is kind of scary.
What happens if you play the Chiefs?
Yeah, like, it's just, I don't know.
He caught 3 of 6 targets for 30 yards, which
Him
is
getting 6 targets is very encouraging.
decently a little saving point there, but whatever. We'll see with him.
My next star-studded loser is someone I have in 4 leagues. No, it's not him. Should be, but I think I have this guy in 2 or 3 leagues, Ezekiel Elliott. And it's really unfair to even put him on this list just because of the matchup. We knew that he was going to stink.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody, I wouldn't even be, if you took him and then you didn't start him, I really wouldn't even have blamed you.
You got to have balls kind of to do it, but
or
it
just
made
no
sense.
options. But yeah, 11 for 33, and only hit 2 targets in a game where Dak Prescott almost threw the ball 60 times. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not a check down. Really, he just gets design screens. Like, he's never really been a check down guy. But
Pollard had 4 catches for 30 yards.
yeah.
But Elliott had 70 snaps compared to Pollard's 20, so that's not really the issue.
Yeah, this was purely just a matchup thing, but if you did start him, you got boned.
Boop.
You got boned by Zeke. And, like, he does look, we were talking about it earlier, like, he does look like he's lost a step. And I don't think that affects him really that much the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Still think he could still get 20 touches a game. I don't see that as, especially if they're going to, I feel like they want to get him the ball early because they know they're going to have to throw late.
Right.
Like, I feel like McCarthy, I don't think he's a smart guy, but I think he knows that enough that Dak's going to throw it 45 times a game, so they might as well try to get Zach 10 touches before the half, you know what I mean? But a lot of people I've seen on Twitter are saying buy low on Zeke. I don't think that's really a bad strategy at all. I think if you can find someone who is that panicked after that, I don't see how you could. Like, I have him, and I'm really holding him because, I mean, if you do own him, your only choice is hold.
Right.
Because you're not going to sell him to anybody, especially if people like Jake Connor just look at week 1 and that's the player's value. He said Allen Robinson's not good because of week 1. But
yeah, with the buy low stuff, I see a lot of these people posting stuff. It's kind of
hard to do.
Week 1, it's like
week 1 you can't buy low on somebody after one game.
After 2 weeks, you
best
can.
rushing defense in the last like 5 years. Like, you can't base stuff off that. But he was a loser this week. Stunk it up bad. Sorry if you use him. Be a guru next time.
He wasn't really a guy I wasn't excited to draft him in any of my leagues. I only have him at 1 because he fell to me at pick 8. But I was not excited to draft him just based off of last year. What he did without Dak, it was just nasty.
See, no, I'm just gonna play the flip side. When Dak was there.
Well, yeah, he was really good.
Well, I think he was like
RB3.
Yeah, like obviously I don't think that's sustainable. It's too top heavy a position. But
yeah.
I mean, if you can get top 10 running back, I mean, do it.
So the last loser on my list, I mean, he didn't have a terrible game, but like, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 8.7 fantasy points. He had 14 carries, 43 yards, 3 catches, 29 yards. A player I wasn't really targeting in a lot of my drafts either. Like the Mixon and Clyde debate, I would lean Mixon every single time. I don't own Clyde. I have him in one league, and it was the auto draft league. I don't condone auto drafting, but I had 2 drafts at the same time, and it was
That's
hectic.
just not commitment right there. I had 2 drafts on 2 different apps at the same time. I did both of them shits on my same phone.
Those are main leagues, so cut me a little slack. But my thing, the whole thing with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, well, I wasn't high on him, is like the team he's on. Like, you can look at it one way and say, oh, he's on the most high-scoring offense in the league. The way I look at it is he's on the most pass-heavy team in the league. So, like, the Chiefs aren't going to sit there and hand him the ball 20 times a game. That's just not – one, it's not really smart considering the weapons the Chiefs have. And 2, it's just not going to happen. Andy Reid is not how he goes about things.
They need to be up considerably after the first quarter for him to actually get a lot of usage.
Right. And for a team like – they always manage to be, like, down sometimes.
Yeah, some days they go down, like, 3 scores in the first half of, like, every game.
I don't know. They'll come back.
Maybe they do it on purpose. Maybe they play better that way. I don't know.
So I'm not really panicking on him, but, like, I know some people are just not huge on week 1, obviously, and I'm not either. He didn't pop off the screen at all. 3 catches, 29 yards is decent. But I think he's going to have to make his earning through the air. Darrell Williams is still getting touches. I saw him on the field a decent amount. Not a ton, but he's still vulturing a little bit. So, yeah, bad week 1 for Clyde, and I hope he improves, but
it doesn't help when the other team just doesn't guard the best player on the offense. That just doesn't help at all. But
yeah, the 2 best players.
I mean, they're trying against Tyree. I give them credit. It's 40 yards, 50 yards down the field. They're trying. Kelce is just walking off the line 1 mile an hour with nobody within 30 feet of him in any direction.
Yeah, that's the last of my losers.
My last loser is it's a team as a whole. Kind of feel bad saying that, but the Green Bay Packers. It's probably the, how do I want to say this? Like, most let down, like, game by an entire offense.
Definitely. Probably
ever in my memory that I can think of right now, or the entire offense, who is, like, usually a top 5 offense.
Yeah.
Just terrible.
It looked like they didn't get
Aaron Jones had 13 total yards and, like, 6 touches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Rodgers was terrible. I mean,
yeah, he looked like he was just fucking not giving a damn.
I think I might be a part of the group of the conspiracy that he's trying to screw the Packers for what happened this offseason. And maybe he was just doing it in week 1 to scare them. To be like, yeah, like, this is what I can do if you want to treat me like this. Like, I'll go 0-17 in this bitch. Like, he just doesn't care. I mean, Adams only had, I think, 5 for 55. Yeah. And that's not, I mean, obviously it's terrible for Devontae Adams, but at least he actually did something. And, like, the whole offense got benched. Like, it's just week 1, and which I thought it was going to be a shootout. And then it's a 38-3.
It reminded me of the game last year. They played the Bucs, and they got shit on. Like, it was around the same score. I think they scored 1 touchdown. It was like 38-10 or 31-10 or something like that. It was just a blowout. But they get the Lions next week, so I think it's an obvious bounce back spot on Monday night.
I mean, hopefully.
All 3 of them should eat next week. Adams, Rodgers, and Jones.
Jones, my MVP pick. I have him in 4 or 5 leagues.
Yeah, rusty week 1. And they also didn't play in the preseason either, right?
No, none of them did.
Which is kind of stupid.
Neither did Hurts, really. Look at that.
Yeah. Hurts the monster. He should have got on the love.
I think Jared Goff's going to throw for 400 yards Monday night. It's my bold prediction for the week. Jared Goff throwing for 400 yards Monday night in I'll say 38-31 loss. Comeback loss. They're going to be down by 4 scores the whole game, and then he's just going to throw for 3 touchdowns and say, yeah.
I could see it.
Jeff Goff, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeff Goff fanboy. But
right, that's enough.
That wraps up our episode. Enough Jeff Goff talk. Go click the link tree in the bio. We're probably going to drop another episode soon. I don't know what it's going to be, but hopefully before the next week starts. And, yeah, we'll see y'all next time.